So I'm making Azog the Destroyer's mace from The Hobbit in honor of the newest Hobbit coming out. So I got some references online. Bud K has made a version of this. This is their version. I believe that's theirs. But they used like a mix of polyurethane plastic mixed with steel and that kind of thing. So it's a lot lighter than what I'm going to be doing, so I'm going to modify it so it's usable by a human being. I got some general size and length description, so I'm going to just use what I found online and make it as close to the original as possible. So this is full-sized. I'm not scaling it down for a human. This is the layout that I figured out based on what I found online. I had to tweak it a little bit just because it didn't quite match up. And I don't know why, but it's okay, it will work in the end. Here's the finished template, and it's reasonably close. I was going off of this picture the most. The others are mainly for size reference, but it's reasonably close to the original. And so the original, it looks like it's 1/2 inch or 5/8 steel, which is extremely heavy. So I was thinking 3/8. For those of you who aren't manufacturers who don't know this off the top of your head, that is just under a 1/2 inch. So a lot of blades, thick blades, are usually about 1/4 inch. Most blades are about pocket knives, usually about a 1/16 or an 1/8 inch thick. Heavier blades are 3/16. I found just enough pieces of 3/8 steel, and so now I'm transferring my pattern on. Plasma cutter cuts metal. Ugh. I was just going to rough cut the edges. The edges are sharp, but since it is a mace, it's not actually sharpened. So I was actually going to take the plasma cutter and cut the corners or cut the edges into blades with this, because it's way faster than trying to grind that all down. Okay, so normally for a blade I would chip slag off and sand it and grind it down and everything like that, but I figured this is supposed to look very rough, just hand forged. So I was thinking I'll just chip the slag off and leave it. I won't grind it or smooth it out at all, but let's see. Normally you could just chip slag off like this. I don't know if I'll be able to on this edge. But like on the inside of this hole, you can just knock it off like that on these edges. So I might just chip the slag off and leave it. We've been cutting the handle parts, and this is the piece for the top where all of the blades weld onto this, all the flanges. Now I'm making it hollow, unlike it would be from the movie, but I'm not an orc, so I can't carry things that are 70 pounds with one hand. So it's hollow, and no, that will not compromise structural integrity. It will be just as strong. I'm capping the ends. Bandsaws are awesome. This is the grip part of the handle. This is the full length. So this is going to be cut open because right now it will not fit over this. I just cut this open with the plasma cutter, and if anyone who knows about plasma cutters, they're really messy. So you have to grind off a lot of the inside if I'm going to get it to fit over this. I don't have a lathe, or I only have a lathe, but it's pre-World War II, and it goes like this when it's spinning. I mean like the shaft, like that. So I can't use it to mill that down to get it to fit. So I'm gonna have to grind this off. I might even have to use our hydraulic press to bend it open a little bit. So, let's see. Okay, so this is our hydraulic press. It is a 40-ton press. So I've got this shaft and I'm gonna just press these open a little bit. And hopefully that will make it fit. Try that. The pipe was too big. I mean, after I pressed it open, it was too big. But since I expanded it over this, there's gaps, so I'm going to use some filler rod and just lay it in those gaps and weld it over that. That way it won't be grooved when I'm done with it. Ow. I'm cutting the caps for the part that welds, the part that the handle goes through that the flanges weld onto. Ta-da! I'm drilling the hole that the shaft, the handle will go through. These are the caps. For those who don't know, the spray is to keep the drill bit cool. Otherwise, you can heat it up enough that it will shatter. I'm putting the caps on this piece that the flanges are getting welded onto. The goal here is to make it look like it is a solid piece that has a hole drilled through it once this shaft is on it. So I'm going to weld it around the top and the bottom, and then I'm going to completely sand that off so it looks like it's solid. Those who have never welded circles, this is how you tack it so it doesn't pull one way or the other. Usually it's more applicable with pipe. This is what I was talking about. It looks solid. So the shaft just goes into it. The idea is a solid bar. So that's, right now it's a formidable weapon already, but it gets better. There's the handle, shaft, and flange mounting area. Right now there's this taper from the flanges to the handle, and so I'm using these because in order to make that you would have to form a piece of sheet metal really precisely to curve around that and all that. So I'm just using these. I'm going to weld them around it, 6 pieces, and then wrap that with twine like it is there. That way it looks solid, but I don't actually have to go to all the work to make something that fits there perfectly. I really like this jagged part right there. That looks really cool.
Looks like it was used in battle.
Yeah. I mean, I guess you can really get momentum up. Don't break your back, though. I mean, you could definitely, you could do an undercut really good. We should call this the Nutcracker. It is an awesome display piece. That would be awesome, though. You could probably just, like, in order to use it, you could probably just, like, lift it up and drop it. Now, every time I make a weapon from a movie, it turns into this giant monstrosity that you can barely lift. I made the Resident Evil axe, the hammer axe, if you didn't see that, and it turned into, that was 56 pounds. This thing, I'm thinking it's around 30 pounds.
And Matthew, explain to them why they always turn into giant, heavy monstrosities.
Because it has to be accurate. And
besides that,
because they look the best. I mean, this is the best weapon in the movie, so of course I go for the biggest, baddest, heaviest weapons in the entire movie. Aside from like a cat. Oh, I should make the ballista in The Hobbit. The 4-armed ballista. That's a good idea. Thank you for that. But yeah, I love this. It is awesome. The only problem is you couldn't like mount it on your wall or anything. You would rip the wall down. I'm going to wrap this with twine. I think here I'm going to wrap with leather or something like that to kind of fill it, and then wrap that with twine, because that's how it looks in here, is the whole thing is wrapped with some sort of string